Hey YouTube, Peterbilt Knife Guy. Today we're gonna be taking a look at another monster chopper. And this monster chopper's name is the Work Tuff Gear Mountain Man. And it is designed by Alex at Aurora Borealis Knives. This thing is a freaking moose. This knife comes in at, I don't know the weight, so I'm gonna put it right here. But we're looking at a slab of steel. I got it covered in WD-40 right now because she's fresh from being sharpened, because today I was doing a YouTube short and I had a little bit of a tragedy. I'll put it in right here. Yeah, so, you know, if you look, you see this nice little line right here. Same on the other side. Took a nice little gouge out of that there steel, you know, SK85. It don't hold up good against a bench vise, but it actually held up pretty well. So what we have here, like I said, is the Work Tuff Gear Mountain Man. It is, let's get some specs here. You're looking at 17.5 inches overall. We have a 5 3/4 inch total handle length with an inner grip of 4 inches. The blade alone, depending on where you're going to measure it, if you're measuring to the handle, you're looking at 11 3/4 and about 11 inches of cutting edge. And of course, our finger choil. Alex, I love your knife designs. Please stop putting finger choils on these things. Here's my theory on that one. My theory is anybody who's going to have one of these, anybody, okay, is going to have a smaller knife. You're going to have a pocket knife. You're going to have a smaller fixed blade. If you're carrying this guy in the woods, you have another knife. You don't need a finger choil for getting up close. That's just my opinion. To each their own. But I would prefer a Mountain Man without a finger choil. At least this guy. This knife was sent to me by Scab over at Choir Boys Cutlery Outdoors, or God, I get his name wrong every time. Awesome dude, excellent freaking brother in the blades. Go check him out. I'm gonna link him in the description. He is so close to 100,000. Let's get him there. If I could subscribe to him again, I would. But he donated this knife to me to check out, not to keep. But that being said, this finger choil, before we get into this knife, it's just me and my fat hands, but the way this thing cants backwards, that is a small little area. Like, here's my pinky. It doesn't leave much room for my fat finger to stick in there. So when I'm holding it, that is pressing really, really hard right against my knuckle right there. So that's the only thing I don't like about this knife, other than the fact, or, you know, it's a moose of a knife. I love that. I love everything about this knife, but I can't do this damn finger guard thing. It is really just brutal, especially because my hand fits this whole thing. So look at where my finger is. Right there. So yeah. Moving on, we are looking at over a 1/4 inch of blade here. We are looking at, oh goodness, 5/16. Yeah, 5/16 inch thick chunk of freaking SK85. This thing is a moose. We have really nice, I believe there's a burlap micarta handle scales. Excellent. When Work Tuff Gear does stuff, they do it fantastically. When it comes to fit and finish and the way things are put together, this knife is no exception. It is used. This is not a new knife by any means. So, you know, there is some rust, there is some spots. Scab lives in Florida. Any carbon steel in Florida is going to struggle. The sheath is just your typical pancake style sheath. There was no attachment sent to me, but I believe these do come with rings on them so you can hang it, because you're not belt carrying this thing. It weighs a freaking ton. Which brings me to another point. if you watch my channel for any period of time, you know that I am a huge fan of big, chunky knives. And up until this point, not too many knives have challenged my thought process on this. This knife actually kind of challenges my thought process on it, because I was under the impression that the bigger and the thicker, the better. I do believe at some point there's diminishing returns when it comes to being able to chop and just having a basically hand axe. And I think this is right at the limit. I think this is the biggest, heaviest chopping knife that I would probably want to ever use. That being said, there ain't nothing wrong with it. This thing hits like a Mack truck. But I do think if it was any thicker or longer, it would just be unwieldy. The balance point on this guy is very far forward. It is a chopper at heart. Typical Work Tuff gear. Alex's designs, you have this hidden lanyard ring, which is the best way to do it. If you're going to design a knife, throw it in there. Awesome swell on the handle. This thing, when you swing it, it stays in place. Alex is just a excellent freaking knife designer. Go check out his YouTube channel too. I will be putting his link in the description also. He designed my all-time favorite knife, and that is the Work Tuff Gear Kodiak. I love this knife. There's nothing I can say bad about it. But let's see. It looks similar in size. Let's do this. Can even get you in screen, right? We'll wait until I set it down. This freaking thing just overpowers it. But I do believe this thing's a bruiser. This thing's got a little better, a little more nimble when it comes to chopping and stuff like that. This thing is no freaking slouch. And this is the thinner version, because this is a stainless steel version, K329, Bowler K329. Let's look at the thickness differences here. And this is where I'm talking about the diminishing returns on this. This knife hits so well that I do not think I would want it thicker, which the SK85 version of this, I believe, is the same thickness or close to, just a hair under the thickness of the Mountain Man. But, so, that being said, you do have a finger choil. It is actually kind of comfortable when you're in this finger choil position. It doesn't want to rub my knuckle there. When it's done, when it's done right, it's done right, but still, I would prefer it not being there. I have no need to choke up on a knife this big. It's freaking crazy. Would you put a finger choil on a sword? I don't think so. But you guys are here to see me hit something with it. But first off, you guys did see that I chopped the bench vise with it, and I don't know if you can see this edge on here. It's not quite fully polished, but it is pretty dang sharp if it'll focus. Come on, phone. Yeah, you can't tell. But I got her nice and sharp now, and that where that nick was, there's nothing there anymore. I mean, look at that. It's super sharp now. I'm gonna put a bottle cutting video in right here. Yeah, this thing's sharper than it needs to be for a knife this dang big. But where's the fun in having a dull knife? So let's go and chop something. I don't know if you guys can tell, it is windy as shit today. But here's our Mountain Man. Here's a 4x4. Let's just chop through this bad boy and see what happens. Yeah, it hits. It hits hard. This 4x4 is crunchy. have noticed though, this knife does want to glance a lot. It's glanced on me a few times now, and that's part of the reason why I ended up hitting the vise, is because it glanced down. So I don't know how to remedy that, to be honest with you. I'm not a knife designer, but I have noticed this knife glances more than other knives, and that's terrifying to me because I know two people, Scab and the Last Huntsman, who got wounded by a work Tuff gear glance. So I don't know. She's a freaking hand axe. Holy crap. A little bit of, wow, it's stuck in there. A little bit of finger pain from this thing, but it is what it is. This is a piece of 1/2-inch plywood. It's old and crunchy, but I want to just, I've never tried chopping plywood, so let's see how far this thing will bury into here. Hot day. Nice. Oh. Yeah, she is a frickin' bruiser. This is a piece of oak. It's pretty thin, hardwood though. Let's just lob it in half and see what happens. We all kind of knew it was going to happen. You hear that freaking wind? It's insane. Look, my camera's blowing around. This is 1 by 1, which is 1.5 by 1.5, because you know us Americans don't know how to do anything right. So let's do it like this. Let's just see what kind of damage I can do with just one good hard swing. Yeah, wow. It bit in. Let's try it again. See if we can cleave this thing one shot. Dang. So close. So close. Yeah, she's a freaking bruiser. All right. So I'm back inside because it's too freaking windy and stupid out there for me. This edge on here was really sharp. Let's see if we lost any of that or picked up any nicks, because I basically polished edge on this. I didn't change the factory edge angles on it, but I did polish it up, and still, I mean, we didn't chop that much, but you get the idea. Because I mean, if you were hitting softwood out in the forest or something like that, like limbs and stuff, it's gonna be no resistance. That plywood was it's not hard to cut, but that stuff was dirty. So let's yeah, that funk on the blade, you can see that funk on the blade. It's catching. It's not the knife. There's not a glint on there. Yeah, nothing. She is still sharp. So what do I think about it overall? Overall, I think it's a fantastic knife. I can tell you right now, from that little bit of chopping that we did, my arm is sore. My shoulder is sore a little bit. It is a lot of weight. That's, I think, where that diminishing return thing comes, because, like I said, this guy, you could swing all day. This one, save it for the big branches, which is why I say don't need a finger choil, because you're using this for one thing only. You're not processing, you're not gutting a trout with this knife, you're not skinning a bunny rabbit or, you know, hunting mice. Mountain lion comes at you, take its head off. Cool. Lots of brush, branches, you want to delimb some stuff, build a shelter, this is your guy. You want to make a fire, it'll do it, but why would you? Because chances are you have a smaller knife on you. Anybody who buys this knife is going to have a smaller knife. I'm just being redundant here. Alex Aurora Borealis, my #1 designer, Choir Boys Outdoors. Go check him out, and thanks for watching.